Recently, a lot of people are talking about the importance of looking poor. This is a complete 180 change from what we saw on social media in the last decade. This was an era of Lamborghinis, logomania, and Gucci loafers. Everywhere you looked, it felt like everyone was showing off their wealth in the loudest ways possible. However, after 2020, the trend switched to quiet luxury. And recently, looking poor is trending. And when I say looking poor, I don't mean wearing very old clothes and driving a car that breaks down every 2 days. I'm referring to someone who lives very modestly with no indicators of their wealth. Think blue jeans, white t-shirt, and a very basic Honda. So why have we gone from flexing to looking poor? I think one of the reasons is because people now realize that a lot of the shiny lifestyles they see on social media are not real. In fact, a lot of people are living beyond their means just to try to portray a certain image. I recently started watching some financial channels. For example, the Caleb Hammer Show is quite dramatic, but also very entertaining.
It's over! 9 years to pay off if you don't purchase, but you're incapable of that. So what the f*** is going on here, huh? What are you doing? What are you purchasing on? What do you think you're purchasing on? Let's see. I don't know. I'm gonna find out, so you better not f***ing lie.
Anyway, it was shocking to see some of the spending behaviors. I mean, so many young people got themselves into major consumer debts just because they want to live a life like the one they see on social media.
Nope, that one I'm pretty sure was a festival as well on most of that. And a trip.
But what they don't know is that a lot of these people they see on social media are probably just faking it, or they might also be in a lot of debts themselves. Last week, I posted a video about how a celebrity got caught showing her fake Hermes handbags on a talk show. This celebrity, Sophia Wang, had always portrayed herself as a luxury connoisseur. And so, if she felt the need to buy counterfeit luxury items just to keep up with a facade, it really makes you question about the realness of wealth you see on social media or even mainstream TV. This is why I'm really glad that looking poor is now trending, because I think it's time we normalize living below our means on social media. Quite simply, when you're not obsessed with supercars, limited edition luxury handbags, the latest gadgets, and designer furniture, you will have so much more savings in your bank account. Now, I do love a good luxury handbag, but I must say, if you're not careful, you will easily become a victim to the Diderot effect. The Diderot effect is a phenomenon where when you buy something nice and shiny, you tend to want to buy more nice things to go with it. For example, you might buy a Louis Vuitton handbag and feel really happy at first, but then you start thinking, oh no, my clothes and my shoes are not good enough to go with the bag. And before you know it, you're replacing your entire wardrobe. And we see that a lot with home renovations as well. If you upgrade your kitchen, you might feel tempted to upgrade your living room, bedroom, and everything else. This is why living a simple life can save you a ton of money. Personally, I think it's okay to have a few nice things, but the essence of looking poor is having the ability to not feel too attached to material things. This can translate into buying a luxury item because it works well for you, not because it portrays a certain image about you. This is something that I can really relate to. You know, back in the days when I used to buy a lot of luxury handbags, I always limited my choices to brands like Hermes, Dior, Louis Vuitton, and Chanel. As much as I want to say I bought those bags because of their quality, part of me made the purchases because of the prestige. I thought owning those bags would say something about my personality and my earning power. But the truth is, people who are doing really well are exactly the ones who don't need to prove anything to anyone. The next reason why looking poor is important is that it will give you the freedom and leverage to choose the life you actually want to live. A while ago, I watched a video where someone said they paid over $2,000 a month for their car. Now, it's true that they needed a car to get to work, but the ironic thing is, if they didn't drive such a fancy car, they wouldn't have to work as hard. And we see that so often nowadays. So many people tie themselves down with expenses, which are mostly discretionary. And so, if they just make some intentional changes, their life can be so different. For example, living in a smaller house, driving an older car, using your electronic gadgets until they actually need replacing, looking after your clothes and your shoes so that they last a long time. These are the actionable things you can do to make your life more affordable. And with the money you save, you can put it towards your personal growth or your future. Yes, you might look poor to other people, but you're also giving yourself the options to choose how to use your time. In my experience, having your freedom is the ultimate luxury. When you're not limited by hefty expenses and you've invested in yourself and your future, you might even thank yourself for looking poor because you know it has given you freedom and leverage. Another reason why looking poor is important is that you will attract the right people into your life. I think most of us want to connect with people who appreciate us for who we are, not because of the shiny things we own. Funny enough, I recently came across a video about a lady who was in a lot of debt. But for a long time, she didn't do anything about it because she was hoping that one day a very wealthy man would come into her life and take care of everything.
And now I have $14,000 worth of credit cards to pay off. Up until this year, I was hoping a rich man would come rescue me.
I'm sure you agree that that is not a healthy relationship for anyone. Similarly, we also want to surround ourselves with people who can help to lead us in the right direction. So let's say you are overextending yourself to look wealthy. It is very likely that you will come across people who also embrace those kind of spending behaviors. This is why peer pressure is a real thing. If everyone around you is buying a Chanel handbag every other week, you will start thinking that is normal. In contrast, if your friends are living a very simple life and they are very much into investing in themselves and their future, it will encourage you to do the same for yourself. Another reason why looking poor is good is that you can retire with a lot less money. If you follow the FIRE movement, you'll be quite familiar with the 4% rule. Essentially, it means if you want to retire early, you need an investment that's worth 25 times your yearly expenses. This means if you have a very expensive lifestyle and you're buying a designer handbag every other week, you need a much bigger investment portfolio to retire. In contrast, if you have a very simple life and you're not over-consuming shiny things, retirement is a lot easier to attain. As soon as I found out about this, my perspective about shopping completely changed. I sold a lot of my luxury items and I stopped caring about impressing other people. With time, I actually started to really enjoy living a simpler life and I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Another reason why looking poor is good is that you will be more appreciative of what you own. Now, sometimes we own things because they solve a problem or they serve a purpose, but other times they are just a means to impress others. This is when you buy the latest iPhone, even though it's not much of an upgrade compared to the one you're using right now. But here's the thing, when you're happy to look poor, you'll find yourself getting rid of a lot of the unnecessary burden. What's left then are the things that actually have a job to do or they can actually make your life easier or better. This is when your perspective can really change. Instead of saying, my car is such a disgrace compared to what my friends are driving, you simply see it as a tool for getting you from point A to point B. In fact, you might even start enjoying driving a not so fancy car because then you don't have to feel stressed about putting the smallest scratch on it. Another good thing about looking poorer than you actually are is that it's a lot safer than flaunting your wealth in the open. In fact, the very successful investor Charlie Munger once said, "Who the hell needs a Rolex just so you can get mugged for it?" As someone who has a few nice things, I can attest to the fact that sometimes wearing expensive things is not safe. We've all seen news about luxury stores being broken into and people wearing luxury handbags and watches being robbed.
The burglars broke a window, they climbed in, and they took everything they could that was of value. Our story has gone viral nationwide. Loads of newspapers have covered it.
Not to mention, the economy is not doing very well right now, so if you look too out there, you might expose yourself to unnecessary threats. Now, looking poor can look very different depending on who you are, but I think the whole point of this is to live below your means and not feel like you have to prove anything to anyone by showcasing shiny material things. What do you think about the notion of looking poor? Does it feel freeing to you, or is it just another kind of pressure? Please share it in the comments. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you soon.